G'day mates and welcome back to Unreal World. I've done a little bit of work off camera, which is part of the reason why it's taken so long to get additional episodes out. Now, it's taken me quite a while, but I've got a fair big chunk of charcoal going in down here. So we should have several hundred bits of charcoal being prepared. Looks like nearly 500 pieces of charcoal being prepared. It's taken me a long time. I've also realised that I have lost my axe in the meantime. Somehow I've lost my hand axe. I don't know where I've put it. I've tried going through the mess that is my camp, but it appears there is no hand axe. I may have traded it away at some point. So I have made a... where did I put that? This one here. I've made a stone axe, which is really bad. It's a terrible weapon. So the first thing we're going to smelt is going to be a replacement axe. Trying to make that has taken me days and days of time. I'm talking 9+ hours of continuous work just to make, game time work, to create the various bits of firewood. And you can see I've cleared out a fair few trees around here. I've tried to selectively clear them out so I don't have a big empty mass in the middle of nowhere. My character is sort of going to try to be a little bit sustainable. So there's a few bits of wood left over, but I thought however many hundreds of bits of charcoal would be enough. Now, what else was I going to be doing? Yes, in the meantime, I've also created a bloomery and a forge. They're both very bad quality, mainly because our tools are so bad as well. So hopefully things will pick up in time. You can also see that despite the beautiful snow falling around us, the lake here has completely melted. So it's now pure water all the way, which means I don't need to make a hole to drink or to fish in future. But the weather is a bit all over the place. It was raining just before I started recording. It's now snowing, so weather is still in transition. Either way, what I think we're going to be doing... Oh, and the other thing, of course, digging lots and lots of bog iron has taken some time as well. So all up, I think I've done about 10 or more days of game time work just to get this all done. Some of our what are they called? Fish have been finished, and the rest of them will be done in half an hour. That's brilliant. So we're very close to finishing up here, and hopefully we can load everything up and start moving. Problem, of course, is these things here weigh 500 kilos each. 1,000 pounds each is very heavy. So I don't think our poor little reindeer up here is going to be able to move them. So I may have to leave them behind and rebuild them at our future site if we do decide to move. But what I'm going to do is make a whole bunch of tools, and then hopefully that'll allow us to just move on. Either way, let's get started on making some of this. Now, I think I've got an understanding of how this is going to go. They're half a pound each, so let's grab, say, I don't know, let's grab 20 of them. That'll give us 10 pounds of iron, and we're going to need to grab, let's start with the inferior charcoal. I think poor is the worst, inferior is, maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's inferior and then poor, so we'll start with the better quality charcoal. I don't know, 5 pounds of that'll do. No, let's change that and let's make 10 pounds of that as well. Each piece of charcoal being a 1 pound. So we are carrying a fair bit of weight, and I want to thank the commenter who pointed out how much weight I was carrying. I sort of had built up a whole bunch of tools. I've dropped most of my weapons that I won't be using. For example, I want to keep the knife on me just because it's so handy. I want to keep a hand axe on me if I hadn't lost it because it's so handy, and my trident pretty much for self-defense because I'm so bad at using knives. If you look at my skill here, so bad at using axes as defense, knife being not particularly good enough to defend me either. So I did drop basically all my other weapons, but I kept my defensive trident in case somebody attacks me, as well as only carrying sort of things down here that I need. I did have 19 pounds of food at one point as well, where I'm much lower now. So either way, let's get started. Let's push, I don't know, let's say, I think 30 is enough to start a fire. Push those there and start a fire. There you go, that is going to burn for a bit. Now, how do we do this? Let's go to smithing, smelt iron. We'll do one at a time, requires 2 pounds. I have 10 pounds. It also requires 8 pounds of charcoal. So how much charcoal have we got? 10. Pick up another 6. Makes 2 things I can do. Just pick it all up and see what happens. Okay, so now I can, let's go back to this again, smithing, smelt iron. Let's try 5. Do I have enough charcoal? I've got 10 pounds of bog iron, 40 pounds of charcoal. Yes, I do have enough. There we go. So with everything here, we should start smelting. And it's going to be using the crappy bloomery, or the poor bloomery to our right. It is going to use the fire to our north. And that should be all we need, all the stuff there. Now, I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know if it's going to smelt it in one go or what. It's the first time I've ever done this, so we're going to find out. Willow grouse, no, let's just continue on. Okay, 2 decent and 3 inferior iron blooms here to prepare. Process should be done tomorrow. That's brilliant. That's really good. So we'll figure out how that's going to work tomorrow, I guess. We'll just head off to sleep. We're still lively, so our character is still pretty good. This one's going to take another 7 days, whereas these perches are now completely done. So we can pick them up, and we've got a fairly good stock of food to keep us going. It's only perch, so they're very, very small. Wrong button, eat. Yeah, they don't, that's an entire perch, and they don't completely fill me up, so could have ourselves a problem here. Food is low. In fact, I can just keep fishing. It's not going to be an issue. I can fish at this point. My skill is... Oh, timbercraft has gone up quite a bit since we started. Looks like it's nearly doubled. I think we were like 14 or 15% when we began. So we've gained a lot of skill in timbercraft. And it helps the fact that we've got 3 stars here on the right here. So we do learn it very quickly. And most of the charcoal building stuff and timber cutting that I've done has been under the timbercraft. So I've gained a lot of skill there. Anything else? Skiing, gained a bit before, although that won't come into play for another year. Agriculture is really low. Building is going up slightly from doing some of the bloomeries and whatnot. And I think the ironworking uses our building skill. Perhaps, or maybe it does use timbercraft. Somewhere, let's see if I can figure this out. Shift make, smithing, smelt iron. Does it say what skill it uses? No, it doesn't. It'll probably say somewhere. I'm not sure if I could figure it out. I might be able to look in the game files. Either way, let's see if we can sleep off till tomorrow. Yeah, unity with the world. So we're getting these unity things. They're not going to come up because I still haven't learnt this ritual here. So I do need to find a shaman at some point to teach me. Also got a bunch of food over here that has gone rotten. The leftover crappy roasted stag cuts. I will keep them in case I get a dog or something in the future, because they can eat spoiled meat. And I could probably even use this, actually. Let's think about this. If I pick up 3 of them, I might even be able to use them to bait these traps here. I think I can throw 1 meat right there. So you can throw meat on top of it. You also drop it and push it on. But this will work. So I can throw this meat on, and that should effectively bait... Oh no, don't walk in that trap. Do not walk in that trap. You can break a bone falling down. If I've put spikes in the bottom of traps before and my character's fallen on top of them and brutally impaled himself on those spikes. So you do need to be very careful with that. Either way, things are looking pretty good. We're carrying a little bit. When I can get rid of this fur overcoat, I'll be much happier with what I'm carrying. So I'll be down to close to 30 pounds. This wooden shovel can go as well, and the food I'm just going to keep on me for the time being, because most of it's dried and smoked, so it's not particularly heavy. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this crappy shovel though. Save another 4 pounds, which will hopefully start to bring my penalty from carrying down. So as I'm starting to make these iron tools, things are looking better and better. How much longer till they're prepared? Late night time, so we should be able to pick up the iron blooms. What's our next step here in smithing is to hammer the blooms. Okay. Let's say we hammer 1 bloom. We're going to require additional sets of charcoal, which I do not have. I do not have charcoal, so I'm going to have to wait a couple of days for that to be produced, I think. Then I'm going to require Hammer, tongs, anvil, forge. Okay, let's get working on that. Those are there. We've got hammer and tongs. Bloomery forge. Where's my anvil? This is my anvil here. Yep, anvil. So let's move this 120 pounds. This one's not that big actually. Anvil over here. Hammer, tongs, anvil, forge, fire, and charcoal. So the charcoal is going to take another 3 days and 4 days. So the big chunks are coming out gradually. So a couple more days until we get more charcoal. I may actually pause time until then and resume. Well, I've been running around all morning and not much time actually has passed in game time, but I have found a whole bunch of foreign traders out sort of east of my camp. So let's have a quick look at what they're carrying, see if there's anything worthwhile, maybe some trade. Get a kitty cat. Hello. See if there's anything worthwhile doing here. Please don't pull my headphones, cat. What have we got here? Yep. Hello, kitty. Okay, fine. Battle axe, wooden mug, battle axe, masterwork, leather cap. Some interesting things here, but nothing overly spectacular. I mean, it's very high quality stuff, high value stuff, but I mean, not spectacular for me personally. The mail hauberk might be nice. Yeah, it could be useful. What's this guy got? Leather boots, fur shirt. Some interesting things here, especially considering the quality of them compared to the quality I've got. Broadsword, fine longbow, and 10 arrows would be interesting. It does make him a little bit dangerous. And what have you got? Battle sword, battle axe, fort. So I could practice with these weapons. I could probably use them on various things and actually practice with them. It's an interesting concept. Wearing leather boots, woolen trousers, mail mittens. So there's some interesting things that they've got equipped here, but it's unlikely that I'm going to be able to take them off them. Oh, there's another guy up there. Lucky I looked around. He could have killed me. Fur hood, leather leggings, bear cuts are nice. If they're only roasted, so they will go bad fairly quickly. Okay, here we go. Woodsman's axe. That's brilliant. And broadhead arrows. And silver ring and bronze brooch, of course, are just small, light, high-value trading goods. So the woodsman's axe I could definitely use, and the broadhead arrows are really good because I believe they cause bleeding. My understanding is they cause bleeding when they hit an animal. So if I can land one shot on a, I don't know, like an elk, for instance, then it'll continue to bleed and I can follow the blood for one, but two, it'll also start to bleed out and get weaker and weaker over time, and then I can just catch up to it and kill it. So broadhead arrows are very, very nice. Unfortunately, I don't really have anything I can trade. These things here are probably not going to be worth the things. I might be able to get a few broadhead arrows. I do wonder if I can chat to him. G'day mate, how's it going? Who are you? I'm called Brunamot. How's it going? Pretty well. I'm Inari of Seal Tribe. Good to know you. Wait, can we not trade? Oh, maybe here, back to chat selection. There we go. Trade. Let's see what I can trade from you. So he's willing to trade some of these broadhead arrows. Let's see if we can get one of them to start with. And I would, what would you prefer in my trade? You don't have enough valuable goods to complete this trade. Ah, of course, these guys are foreign traders. They don't want regular things like food and axes and shit like that. They want things like furs and high value stuff. So, and of course quality furs. So if I had those seal furs with me, that might be useful. If I had, say, all of those. We want furs, tanned furs, thick and fine furs of the north. You understand? So I suppose you can imagine this guy is supposed to be like he was a foreign trader, of course. So he could be a Russian, he could be a German, somebody from those sorts of parts of the world. They're looking for furs. Unfortunately, I do not have furs, so not much I can do here. Not much in terms of clothing. He does have a hand axe, which would be nice, as well as his mail mittens. Sadly, I'm not going to get much from these guys, so too bad. I guess I'm going to crowberry shrubs. Excellent. Can't get out of the region. So there's not much going on here. I thought it was a little bit interesting, but sadly I can't trade with these guys. They're sort of over to the east here. If I continue heading west, back to, I think that's where I live. Yep, I live just there. In other words, I've also thrown a meat cut down here because I was exploring a little bit. And if I go into here, the spoiled roasted cut, what I've found is... Nope, that's the wrong tree. This one here, right, right next to me. This here is an older tree. So you may have seen some bark in the previous cut, which was a little while ago. No, I may have dropped it. But I did harvest a little bit of bark from this before. And that'll allow me to effectively come back here as much as I want and use this bark for tanning. I don't need to use the fat anymore. So the fat now has become a resource that I can eat if required. So I did end up roasting and eating all of that stag fat from before. Let's continue eating these dried perches. My character's a bit peckish. But either way, I think this is where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to have to do a fair bit off camera. So this episode is winding to a close. I need to keep wasting a bit of time until I can get back to getting these bits of charcoal done. So I'll just keep living, keep fishing, keep chopping up and preparing more charcoal, and we will see what happens when I eventually get these blooms, which are not quite done yet, but will be done shortly, into new kinds of weapons. And I think I'm going to go, wrong key, I think I'm going to make some, so hammer bloom. I'm going to make an axe head, a small axe head, and just make a little hand axe to keep me going, because that is going to be the most important general purpose tool I can start with. The next one is probably going to be a shovel head. We'll do that shortly. Anyway guys, I've been Blxz. This has been Unreal World. Smash that thumbs up button if you do indeed enjoy Unreal World content. And if not, well, I don't know, wait around. You'll see some other stuff soon. Take care guys, I'll see you around.